Good afternoon, everyone. It is Thursday, September 2nd, and today, with both hands, I'm going to grab onto the third rail of all political discussions, which is Social Security. So we received a few calls today from clients. Yesterday, the federal government announced that the Social Security Trust Fund will be depleted 1 year earlier than initially planned. So initially, the federal government said the Social Security Trust Fund will run out in 2034. Now they're saying due to pandemic-related issues, it's going to run out in 2033. Last year, it was the first year last year that less revenue came in to fund the program than what was paid out, and that was what caused the decrease in the life of the trust fund. A couple things I'm going to talk about today is first, how is the Social Security plan system funded? Second, what is this trust fund? Third, what is the worst case scenario that could happen if they don't make any changes? And third, what do I think anyway with my semi-educated guess is the probable scenario? So first, let's talk about Social Security. How is this paid for? Social Security is a pay-as-you-go system, which basically means this. Workers that are currently in the system paying their Social Security taxes, that money flows through and then gets paid back out to the Social Security beneficiaries in the form of the checks that they get every single month. Last year was the first year in 39 years that the inflow of taxes was exceeded by the outflow in terms of checks that were paid out to people. So that's the main reason that we got that decrease in terms of life expectancy of the Social Security Trust Fund. Now, what's the Social Security Trust Fund? The last time the Social Security was looked at as being in real danger of going bankrupt was 1984. So we have been there before. They made a number of changes to the plan, and basically what they did is they stretched out the life expectancy of the plan by about 50 years or so. But since 1984, when they made the changes to the plan, there's been an excess of Social Security taxes by almost $3 billion, $3 trillion, that's a trillion with a T, that have been paid into the system. So what has Social Security Administration done with that? Basically, they take that excess, they loan it out to the rest of the federal government, but they buy treasury bonds with it. Now, the liability that the federal government has to pay back the Social Security Trust Fund with those bonds is the same as any other bondholder. And in terms of the risk of a treasury default, it's almost non-existent because at the worst case scenario, the federal government can always monetize the debt, meaning they can print money to pay it. That'd be really not good for the economy. I don't advocate that they do that, but they're not going to default on that debt. Anyway, so you've got this pool of $3 trillion. That's the Social Security Trust Fund. That is basically there to pay the shortfall between the incoming tax receipts that they're getting and the outflow in the form of checks. Right now, basically all the news that came out yesterday said that life expectancy of that fund has been decreased by about a year. Now let's talk about the worst case scenario. So let's say that Congress, the federal government does nothing, and they say, okay, we're just going to let the chips fall where they may. What happens? Well, we get to the year 2033 based on current estimates. The trust fund runs out, and so what the law mandates is that the incoming Social Security taxes will then get matched in with the outgoing payments. And basically, we're looking into the future, but probably 75 to 80% of benefits would be covered by incoming tax receipts. So to make the math easy, let's say that you had $2,000 of Social Security coming in every single month. It probably means that would go down to about $1,500 or so, again, give or take 5 or 10 percentage points either way. So the checks don't stop, but they could be reduced. I think that's highly unlikely. That's your worst case scenario at this point. I think that's highly unlikely that will happen. I do think what will happen is, at least in the past, I said in my last video that human beings are really terrible at mitigation, meaning in terms of solving problems or addressing problems before they happen, really good at adaptation. That actually even includes the federal government. So I think what will happen is there's going to be a combination of means testing, which I personally have an issue with that because I'm looking, it doesn't matter how much money you've made, you paid money into that system the entire time, and I believe you should get your benefits. But you could see means testing in the future. You could also see an increase in the current payroll taxes. The number that they're talking about now might be maybe 0.5% or so, or you would see a decrease in benefits, which again would come into the means testing, or maybe raising the age range of eligibility for younger workers. And I think what'll probably happen is you're going to see a combination of all those things. But even looking, if you did a combination of those three things, raise the retirement age slightly, you added maybe 50 basis points of Social Security tax, and if you did some sort of means testing or something, most of the estimates are saying that would probably then increase the program's ability to survive out at least another 40 or 50 years or so. So the bottom line is this: yesterday's news, it's not really surprising. People were paying less payroll taxes last year because less people were working. Hopefully we get this economy back to full employment again and robust employment, and that gap gets narrowed again so that the trust fund's not going to be asked to do as much in the next decade or so. But I do think that this is one issue, Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever it is, it seems like both parties, it's an issue where they want to get things done. I can't imagine any of our political leaders coming back to their constituents and saying, oh, by the way, Social Security system is going away, or your benefit's going to get cut by 20, 25%, as it would under the current law if the Social Security Trust Fund were to run dry. So it's one that for sure we're watching. I read a ton of stories about it last night. And I think that it is something I think it'll be a catalyst for them to move forward. And I also think it's a heck of an opportunity for Congress, if they can get together on anything, but to actually get together and think about the structure of the plan in terms of what they need to do to make it last for the next 50 years. Anyway, yeah, if this has been interesting to you, thank you for listening. And we'll be back next week with another topic. If you have any questions, as always, call a member of my team or give me a call. Appreciate it. Thanks.